Welcome to the Anglo-Italian pod, and it is time for yet another of our Euro 2024 previews. This time, we've got a good friend of the show back on, and already arguably the story of the tournament. We'll be talking to Luka from Georgian Footy about Kvaratskhelia and the boys. Luka, how we doing, man? You good?
I'm doing fine, mate. Thank you for having me on the show once again. Uh, After we've qualified for the Euros for the first time ever.
Well, this is it. It's great to have you on, man. Last time we were talking, it was kind of Georgian football in general, talking about
Yeah,
the impact in Serie A, of course, Kvaratskhelia. But now, finally, you have qualified. I was just doing a bit of research and doing a bit of preparation for the episode, and I watched back the penalty shootout against Greece. And those scenes when Georgia qualified is just incredible, man. Incredible.
yeah, for sure. It was definitely you could see what it meant to the whole country, not just the people who were inside the stadium, but everyone all around the capital city and all around Georgia, because it was, as we all know, football sort of unites people. And for us, going through like a little rough patch for the last 20, 30 years, and it was definitely more than just a win in a football match. It was way, way more than that, and hopefully it will be something to build our better future upon. And yeah, we'll see where it leads us to.
Nice. And we were just saying before we hit record, you're heading to Germany yourself. You'll be
Yeah,
attending the games.
exactly.
Um, and I was telling you just how jealous I am you get to go to the Signal Iduna Park, but you must be incredibly excited to fly out to Germany.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. As I mean, I've attended more than, let's say, 50 odd games of the national team in Georgia, but I've never really been able to go outside. And it's my first time going abroad to watch Georgia, and to be in a major footballing tournament, obviously, it makes it even more special. But it's not going to be just me or a bunch of other people. It'll be 20, 30,000 people from Georgia headed to Germany, and for each game, obviously. And it should be a great atmosphere, let me put it this way. And hopefully the results also kind of back to supporting, and we'll have a tournament to remember.
That is incredible. I cannot wait to see Georgia at the tournament. I'm really, really excited to watch the games. But let's do it. Let's get into it. So we're going to
Yeah.
start with the man in charge. And last time we had you on the pod, there was a little bit of like, no, is it unhappiness with Willy Sagnol? I don't know. You felt a little bit about him. Has anything changed now
Yeah.
you qualified? Is there still a bit of frustration?
Uh, well, regardless of what people think, good or bad, he will still be remembered as the first man who led the country to its first ever qualification. Because and or like with all praise due, he deserves all the praise he might receive, which is pretty much deserved. But the sort of, how to put this, the disappointments me or other supporters could have is mainly due to life, trying out new things, new players, giving chance to players who might deserve the chances. And even with the squad list we have at the Euros, there are one, two, maybe three players who you would have hoped to make it to the final 26-man lineup. But again, it's the coach's decision. And I think at the time when we talked about, we didn't really have the best spell in the European Championship qualifiers. Finished fourth in Group A. So obviously a lot of criticism went towards Sagnol, and rightfully so, I guess. But as a whole, regardless of what even Georgia are going to do in the tournament, he will still be remembered as the most successful coach in Georgian football history, and again, deservedly so. But it depends. Well, a lot could change after the Euros. A lot of players, the veteran players, typically said that like this was probably our last push with the Georgian national team, and he will have to change a few things, how to call up new players, how to try a new system, new tactics, and we'll see what that leads us to. And I think Republic of Ireland have been rumoured, not sure if that's true, but they've been rumoured to trying to acquire Sagnol, who's at first stated that he might leave Georgia regardless of the results in the playoffs. This was back in March. Now he said that, I wouldn't mind staying, and I guess like none of us will be disappointed if he stayed. Definitely not. But if it was the case of him leaving, hats off to him and his crew for making it happen. And we could only wish him the best in his future.
Nice. And what style of football can we expect from Georgia, and what would his approach be in the games?
I have to point out a few things which, in favor of Sanyol, which he basically, when he took over in 2021, obviously it takes time for you to adjust to the culture, adjust to the players, get to know them better. And at first, we played this definitely not defensive. We played this sort of hybrid 4-2-3-1 formation, which is pretty much the standard in 8 teams out of 10 in Europe, at least. And it didn't work. It didn't work. And then he was the first coach for the last, let's say, 6 or 7 years who decided to change it to a 3 at the back formation, so 3 centre backs, 2 wing backs, and so on. And it actually started working well. And it was because of the change to sort of 5-3-2, 5-2-2-1 sort of formation that got us results. And we had our longest unbeaten run ever of 11 games throughout the late 2020. We started off beating Kosovo, then we beat Sweden at home, which was an upset because Sweden were first in our group, leading to qualify for the World Cup in Qatar. And because we beaten them, they went second and had to go via playoffs. I think they didn't qualify. Yeah. I'm not sure. They didn't qualify for the World Cup. So, and yeah, after that, the team gained momentum. Obviously, Kvara became who he is. Start winning games. Confidence came in as well. You have to consider that. No matter how good you are, if you don't really have team chemistry and confidence, it's difficult to win games. And again, thankfully for the Nations League, where we were the best team in Division C, well, according to the numbers at least, and the points we generated, he sort of had a core which worked well in a formation, which is like a 5-3-2 now, more or less. And he went with that formation again and again and again. And it was the game against Spain when he switched it up for the first time, and we got hammered 7-1.
Yes.
And he said and he actually explained this actually pretty nicely. He said, like, when you start winning games for a year and a half, 2 years, you kind of want to think that, I might actually challenge the bigger boys, the bigger boys in our group. And he decided to switch to 4-3-3 with like 3, to put this, technically sound midfielders who weren't great off the ball or taking the ball away from the opponent. And we got punished. Goals were going in from every single angle. So, and he said in the video, I thought I could have done it. I thought we could have managed a results, going attacking and being a bit more nitty, but it didn't happen. And then he switched back to the 5-3-2.
Well, that's probably a clever move. That's probably a clever move.
He switched back to the 5-3-2, and again, that was basically what got us the result. Even against Greece, who are on paper, at least in my eyes, a better team. But
well, we got there. You got there, right? And that's the important thing. So let's talk about the players on the pitch and the people that delivered the results, the ones to look out for. Now, obviously, Kvaratskhelia is fantastic. He's been fantastic again in a terrible Napoli team this season. He's still managed to shine. Who are the other players that people could be looking out for as the people that can kind of grab the headlines for Georgia this summer?
Well, I'd say Mamardashvili, our goalkeeper, who's at Valencia, is 90% sure that he's going to leave the team this summer, as they've already signed a goalkeeper. So Newcastle is one of the teams that's rumored with signing him. Man United as well wanted to sign him about a year and a half ago, 2 years. So yeah, I mean, I think he's our second best player on the team in terms of quality. Obviously, judging a goalkeeper is a bit difficult because there's not much excitement in watching a goalkeeper. You could be like a 90 minutes of play when he doesn't even touch the ball once. So it's difficult on that department. But I think he's our second best player on the team, and probably the most anticipated player from Georgia for the last couple of years. Mikhail Tadze, who's had a difficult spell at Ajax, but then just tore apart Liga and after rejoining Metz on loan, and they bought him back for 13 million a couple of days ago. But it's pretty much sure that he's going to leave the team because unfortunately they've been relegated to league to second division. So we'll see how that one goes. And in my eyes, a player who we call Kvaratskhelia before Kvaratskhelia, which is Chakvetadze, Georgi Chakvetadze, who plays for Watford, and he went from like to be a national hero like 3 or 4 years ago when we first went to the Nations League playoffs back in 2018, 2020. Then injuries, but then he rejuvenated again, so got his sort of form and physique back at Watford. And I genuinely believe he's the sort of player who's severely underrated in our team, but has a lot of quality on the ball. And with obviously Creature in the team and other guys who I've mentioned before, he's probably going to step up and deliver for us if obviously we get the chances, and he definitely has the quality. I think that those 3 or 4 players are the ones who are worth looking after, and then there's another bunch of youngsters who might get some play time and hopefully also deliver for us. So yeah.
Nice. It is a kind of quite a young emerging squad, right? I feel like there's a bright future ahead of this team, and this qualification is just kind of the first step, right?
Yeah, for sure, because relatively all of those guys are similar age, 22, 23, talking about the most attacking core at least, whereas the veteran players, the senior players are typically defenders, so there's not much excitement coming from that way. But as a whole, I'd say the team is set for the next 5-6 years in terms of the quality the current players have, and you never know who's going to pop up. We have one 18-year-old who's sort of like a replacement of a veteran captain, Gabriel Sigur, plays for Basel in Switzerland. He's 18. It's going to be his. Well, he played twice for Georgia, but both of them were like sub appearances, so not really like in a competitive game. But maybe if he could be like a wild card player for us.
Nice.
And a lot of teams. Obviously, we all know how teams scout or all around the tournament. Maybe he's the one making that next step, that next jump. And he will be someone who we will rely on in the next, 8, 10, 12 years. And yeah.
Nice. Very good. Nice. So then moving on, let's talk about Georgia and how far you can go. Now, obviously, it's a bit of a tricky group. We've just recorded the episode for Turkey, and he wasn't feeling particularly confident about getting out of the group. But I think I was saying beyond Portugal, who I think obviously their squad is terrifying. Yeah. They should probably finish top. All those 3 teams, Turkey, Georgia, and Czechia, are kind of finely balanced, I think. So how do you feel it could go in the group, and what would be a successful tournament for Georgia?
So be objective and subjective, let me put it this way. So I'm a biased opinion. We have got what it takes to qualify in terms of quality. And you've mentioned obviously Portugal are probably levels above any of those teams, but in the tournaments you never know, because we've seen how Portugal won it in 2016. They finished 3rd with the group with Austria, Iceland,
Hungary, maybe.
Hungary, yeah. They finished 3rd. They haven't won a single game in the group, and because it was like a new rule that best finished 3rd teams could have qualified, that could have advanced. That's the reason why they got through and they won the championship with it. But even if it's the case now, if obviously they fired through the group stages, they finished 1st. Between us, Turkey and Czechia, we have got chances, I think. If we're lucky enough, if we sort of manage to put our heads to the game the way we managed against Greece, because again, as I've said before, Greece were a better team on paper, but on that day, giving your 110, 120% to the game, you can manage obviously anything, and with a bit of luck, obviously you never know. But I think I wouldn't be too crazy if I said, we could finish as the best 3rd-ranked team in the group and then advance to the knockouts. I think that wouldn't be too crazy to say, but I won't be sort of super disappointed if we finish bottom, because again, tournament experience comes into place here, and you need to have 1 or 2 tournaments to then sort of how to put this, grow as a team, mend together as a team, and then make a big push. But obviously, you never know.
Well, beautiful, mate. That was absolutely fantastic. I'm like, Georgia are one of the teams that I'm most excited to see this tournament and to see exactly what they can get. Enjoy your time out in Germany.
Cheers,
when our viewers and listeners want to follow your adventures, where can they find you online?
At Georgian Footy on Twitter. That's it. That's the only sort of platform I'm using, and everything Georgian football you can see there. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we will have you on hopefully during post the tournament. We'll get you back on to talk all things Georgia. So thanks as always, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Yes,
and you guys, as always, hit the like and subscribe button down here. You can find us on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod and on Instagram and TikTok at Anglo-Italian Pod. And stay tuned for our next episode in the Euro 2024 previews. Ciao, alla prossima.